The South Bank Show on Granada in just over 10 minutes after the news from ITN.
From the studios of ITN, the news with Nicholas Owen.
Good evening, welcome to the programme. Tonight's headlines: new plans to help the Rwandan refugees as the camp exodus continues. New arguments as the government faces a crucial vote on handguns. And Lost in Space fears that a Russian rocket may crash back to Earth. The international community is reassessing its aid plans for Zaire's refugees tonight as thousands continue their homeward trek to Rwanda. The United Nations says nearly 500,000 have returned since Friday. One of the biggest camps in eastern Zaire at Mugunga is now deserted. From there, Tim Hewitt reports you may find some of his pictures disturbing.
It has the appearance of the road to hell, and for some of those on it, it will be a final journey. Increasing numbers are falling by the wayside, unable any longer to carry on to a border crossing barely 10 miles away. They can only hope that help is near, but there's been little so far. Most of the Mugunga camp is now a foul, deserted wasteland. It had been controlled by Hutu militiamen. The only sign of them now, the bodies left after battle.
Despite the awfulness of this place, the majority of the refugees will be able to make it home. This is a story of misery and anguish, but also one of survival against the odds.
This morning, Red Cross workers arrived to search for lost children. This boy, name and family unknown, was discovered beside the road and will be handed to aid officials in Rwanda. There is just a chance, a slim one, he'll be reunited with his parents.
But tell them.
We found this little boy, barely a toddler, wandering on his own. A woman told us he'd become separated from his family, simply left behind in the early crush of people. But he was one of a lucky few. She agreed to run with him to a Red Cross lorry, which was collecting people further along the road. But even here, it appeared briefly, he would again be left behind. There was no one to hold a small hand offered up in hope. But finally, he was collected, a Red Cross official promising food, water and medical attention. In a place of so many horrors, there was at least one happy ending. Tim Hewitt, ITN, Mugunga in eastern Zaire.
Countries who promised to send troops to Zaire will discuss on Wednesday whether to scale down their humanitarian mission. The United Nations says a multinational force is still needed in the troubled region. Here's Ian Glover-James.
Landing in Kigali, British military planners preparing for the Rapid Reaction Force, although now they may never be needed.
These officers have come in country to look at conditions and help make a best judgment on what that force will consist of.
The Americans are here, but there's growing uncertainty about this mission from major troop contributors like Britain.
It may be, in the light of the reconnaissance and in light of events that we're now hearing about, that it can be a smaller force. It might have to be a bigger force. We'll know when they come back.
And looking again at the maps, aid agencies too are now cautious.
If there is a job for soldiers, it would be around the Bukavu and Uvira area, where we need access, where hundreds of thousands of people have scattered into the forests and jungles around there, and where we simply don't know what's happened to them.
So the big aid agencies are still gearing up to help the refugees. With large numbers of Rwandan Hutus still unaccounted for in Zaire, they still face a massive humanitarian task. Ian Glover-James, ITN.
The government's facing a rebellion in the Commons tomorrow when MPs vote on its bill to bring in tough new gun controls. Today, members of the gun lobby held a rally to voice their opposition to the measures. Caroline Kerr reports.
Tomorrow's handgun debate looks set to be heated. The Dunblane relatives say it's too lenient, the gun lobby say it's over the top. And today, embattled gun owners were fighting their corner. At a rally in Surrey, they insisted the bill was unfair and called on Tory MPs to oppose it.
The people that you've seen here today are ordinary people, honest, straightforward people, who are examined by the police on a regular basis to see that they've committed no misdeeds, and they are being punished for an event with which they have no direct connection.
But one former minister is opposing the bill because he wants a complete ban, including .22 caliber handguns.
.22s killed Bobby Kennedy, killed Itzhak Rabin, nearly killed President Reagan. The multiple action .22 pistol would have been just as effective in the hands of Thomas Hamilton that dreadful morning in Dunblane as the heavier weapon he used.
With some MPs voting against the bill because it doesn't go far enough, and others opposing it because it goes too far, Tomorrow's debate is bound to cause Mr Major a headache. But tonight it appears that with the help of the Ulster Unionists, the government will scrape through. Caroline Kerr, ITN, Westminster.
Tory Eurosceptics tonight stepped up pressure on the government to distinguish itself from Labour and rule out joining a single European currency. Labour now says that, like the Conservatives, it would hold a referendum before scrapping the pound. John Draper reports.
Mr Blair said on his trip to Paris that while a single currency has advantages, it couldn't be decided on yet. Now Labour says the people must decide. The party says that as the European summit in Dublin won't now finalise the issue in time for the election, a referendum's the only option.
The Labour government will make a recommendation. It will then be put to Parliament. It will require there to be collective cabinet responsibility. All that will be contained within our manifesto, and then the recommendation will be tested by a referendum.
The Tories say Labour's new referendum stance is just an attempt to distract attention from their federalism.
Labour wants a federal Europe, a massive transfer of power from London to Brussels. This government, this party, will not lead the country into an integrated federal Europe.
But Mr Major's again under pressure from his right wing to outflank Labour by ruling out a single currency.
It should persuade us to go that bit further and say if you vote Conservative, you'll not get involved in the single currency, and if you vote Labour, you probably will. At least this would be a clear choice for the people of Britain.
All three main parties are now agreed on a referendum, but little else. The Conservatives say Labour and the Liberal Democrats would lead Britain into a federal superstate. The opposition say the Conservatives are hopelessly divided on Europe. John Draper, ITN, Westminster.
Sport and an own goal added to Middlesbrough's woes at Derby today as they failed to win their 7th Premier League match in a row. The home side went one ahead after 15 minutes, with Asanovic performing a quick turn in the penalty area. They added a second 2 minutes into the second half when a free kick forced an own goal from Vickers. Middlesbrough pulled one back through Ravanelli. The final score 2-1 to Derby. Tim Henman held on to his title in the British National Tennis Championships at Telford. He lost the first set but fought back in a close match against Greg Ruzetsky to win by 2-1. American officials are predicting that a Russian space probe which failed to break out of Earth's orbit on a mission to Mars could fall to Earth sometime tonight. As John Ray reports, experts are blaming a faulty rocket booster system.
2 years behind schedule, a mission bearing the hopes of Russia's beleaguered space program. The launch went well, but scientists' celebrations were soon cut short. The rocket blasted off from Kazakhstan just before 9 o'clock last night. The first 2 stages fired successfully. So did the third, fixing the spacecraft in orbit 100 miles above the Earth. The 4th stage fired once, but failed a second time, leaving the probe to circle the Earth. British scientists had equipment on board, 8 years' work lost.
Testing was cut back on this program, and testing is the only way we can ensure that things work. We can't go up and fix them, which is very evident today.
Interest in the red planet has grown, scientists beginning to ask seriously whether there has been life on Mars. It's a question the $64 million probe might have helped answer. Instead, it'll fall to Earth. John Ray, ITN.
Finally, Jemima Khan, wife of the former cricketer turned politician Imran Khan, has given birth to a healthy boy in London. It's the first child for the couple, who married in May last year. The baby weighed 7 pounds 14 ounces. He has yet to be named. That's it from the Weekend News team here at ITN. Goodbye.
Hello, good evening. There'll be some sunshine for us all tomorrow, but even with sunny skies, it's still going to be a cold day, and there'll be some wintry showers around, especially up in the north. As for tonight, well, many of us have had grey skies today, and that grey wet weather will hang on in the southeast right through the night. For the rest of Britain, generally clear, a widespread frost, just a few wintry showers, mostly on the hills up in the north, where there will be snow. As for the temperatures tonight, well, there's already a frost across many northern parts of Britain, and over the next few hours, temperatures in many other northern and western areas will be below freezing. The southeast, though, escapes a frost tonight because of that blanket of cloud. Temperatures there around 3 or 4 degrees. But the rest of Britain, temperatures well below freezing, some icy patches to watch out for on the roads, so take care at first tomorrow. But it will be a bright day, a lot of sunshine around tomorrow. The southeast still rather grey at first, but that grey, damp weather will be moving away to the south and east, driven along by quite a strong breeze. And then for the rest of the day, it's a mixture of sunshine and just a scattering of showers around the coasts and the hills. But it will be cold, even with sunny skies. Temperatures tomorrow struggling up to around 6 or 7 at best for most of us, and 7 is only 45. Bright and cold. Good night.
Sponsored by Powergen, producing electricity, whatever the weather.